Greetings, the tubes. It is another wonderful Saturday weekend, and it is me, the guy with funny headgear. And, well, just thought I'd throw a quick one out here. What my work week is like. I'm down here in glorious, sunny Los Angeles, and been spending the last couple of days in a warehouse. Surprise, surprise, working on security cameras, because one of the many things that people think I'm good at is installing cameras. So that becomes the thing that I get to be good at. And since they keep wanting to pay me to do that, well, I'll do it. I'll go along with that. For some strange reason, in my life, I have become the guy that does the thing. Probably because I have almost no sense of shame, and I'm okay with failing miserably. So anytime anything wanted to be done and everyone was standing around going, "I ain't gonna do it, you're gonna do it," well, I'd roll up the rubber gloves and do the thing, and everyone would laugh and cackle at me and be covered head to toe in whatever shit or whatever needed to be done. And it got done. And strangely enough, all those people that laughed and giggled, they're all gone. I'm still employed, so take that for what it's worth. Anyway, so it's been a long work week, and it's Saturday, and I was thinking to myself, gee, it's a beautiful sunny day, nice weather. What should I do with it? And I realized I couldn't think of a damn thing. Don't really have too many friends down here, and strangely enough, my friends seem to find more interesting people to hang out with on the weekends than me. And I don't blame them. I am not young and hot. I'm not into the latest cool thing that everybody's into. And there's a limited amount of drugs and drinking that I can do in any one particular time. And at 58, not terribly interested in going to bars and trying to hook up with people to bump nasties with. A failing on my part. Anyway, places like this are my usual domain during the week, because I'm the it guy, the guy that does it. So between spreadsheets and catalogs and writing Python programs, I get to climb up in the ceiling with scissor lifts and string wires for security cameras, because I'm the guy that does the thing. Anyway, oh, and by the way, greetings to all of my loyal fan. Hi, Mom. I wonder, I may actually get 2 or 3 subscribers on this channel by accident one of these days if the algorithm actually accidentally steers someone in the wrong way. Anyway, this has been an ongoing problem with me that, especially in Los Angeles, I've spent 20 plus years floating around Los Angeles, and when weekends came around, I really couldn't think up what to do with myself. You spend all week at work, trying to imagine all the cool things you're going to do when the weekend gets here, and then the weekend gets here, and for most of us, Saturday is shot with restocking the pantry, and cooking some food, doing a little recovery time, grocery shopping, doing the laundry, and all that good stuff. And if you're lucky, by 4 or 5 o'clock Saturday, you finally got all the usual errands sorted out, and now you're free. Now you got a whole day and a quarter. And Los Angeles, like many cities, there's a lot of cool things to do. And you know what the funny thing is? Everyone is doing it. So you're going to fight people on the freeway to get there, and you're going to fight people on the parking lot to get parked. You're going to pay for parking, if you can find it, after an hour or so. Then you're going to pay through the nose to get in. Then you're going to stand in line for the thing. You're generally going to find out the thing probably wasn't worth the effort. and then reverse order the whole thing back home again, feeling exhausted and wondering, what did I just spend $250 on? I would say that Los Angeles has some of the best food anywhere in the world because we're so multicultural, and we almost always have perfect weather. And you could go to the beach, and you could go to museums, you could go to the observatory, and blah 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 blah. We got lots of things to do, but as I said, everybody else is doing it, and they got up 2 hours earlier than you did to do it. Oh, and they've got 9 kids with them. So, if you live in Los Angeles for any period of time, you develop an aversion to going anywhere out on the weekends because why? It's just too much trouble. Not to mention, visitors, come in, vacationers come in from other places to see the wonderful world of Los Angeles, and so you got even more people on the road. Here's our latest forklift. This is the excitement when you work in the warehouse distribution industry is, woohoo, we get a new toy, new electric forklift. These things run about $18,000, but they're a joy compared to the old propane farting mass greasy things that they replaced. So, and as I was saying earlier in another video, which absolutely no one will ever watch, and will just float around the internet a century after I'm dead. It's work can be fun, and I have discovered, strangely enough, fucking around with spreadsheets all day, not particularly fun, but even that you can make kind of moderately fun. But my boss, his father, Mr. Dave, the king of forklifts, or as we like to call him, the forklift bender, because he can do things with a forklift, maneuver them in places and get things up in corners that defies the laws of physics. And he makes it look easy. And then anyone else tries to do it and they run over shit. But, heavy equipment, moving around heavy equipment and stuff is actually kind of fun. And even moving around pallets of this stupid shit, as you can see up here, my boss is the emperor of fart fans, so we own all of the fart fans in Southern California. Gotta be known for something. And, any job that gives you a little movement and gives you, some toys like this to play with, is not terrible. The day goes by fairly fast. If you're stuck in a fucking cubicle responding to emails, telephone calls, and opening and closing spreadsheets, that's not so much fun, but you can almost gamify anything. But I digress. We get back to what the hell was I doing on weekends? As I've said, maybe it's too many years of being in Los Angeles, but fun is very expensive and a lot of hard work and very little return on investment. And I'm not a recluse, I enjoy hanging out with people, but honestly, at 58, I think of all the interactions, all the, Sunday brunches and Saturday dinners and clubbing and shit that I did, and what were the deep conversations I had with people? Not much. Usually it's just people, each other, both of us, bitching about our lives, our work, our girlfriends, our boyfriends, that type of thing. I'm not sure we were even listening to each other, kind of talking over each other, because it's been argued that what most people are doing in a conversation is waiting for a pause in the conversation and formulating the thing that they're going to say when it's their turn. And that's horrible. We don't listen to each other, very little, or we listen to each other just enough to comment. How sad. And this is something this is my personal project for the year, is to get better at listening, because I suck at it. I really suck at it. Which is amusing, because for some strange reason, something about my personality, I'm the type of guy that people like to confide things in. I become kind of a therapist for a lot of my friends. I guess we all do. And I guess I should have been listening a little bit more when they were pouring out their life story. I'm sorry. Luckily, no one's ever going to listen to this video. So, shh, Mom, keep my secret. No, Mom doesn't actually watch these videos either, as far as I know. Just some Czechoslovakian AI that's running on an Amiga 2600 or so. Thinks I'm fascinating. So, at least I've got one fan, even if it's digital. So weekends, things to do. Yeah, I mean, entertainment. You can go to a movie. Does anyone do that anymore? Are theaters even still open? Is that a thing? With Netflix and Hulu and Paramount and Amazon and Google Play and all those good things. It amazes me anyone goes to a theater anymore. Why? I think tickets now are like $22 for an adult here in SoCal these days. I'm not sure. Shows the last time I went to a theater, which was 7 or 8 years ago. I got pissed because my favorite theater was the ArcLight Cinema down here in Hollywood with the original 1960s Cinerama Dome. And that was a cool place. And they had a really nice little bar and restaurant inside that had pretty decent food and really good drinks at a very reasonable price. And it was nice to go, have a nice leisurely lunch and such and wait for the movie to show up. And it didn't survive COVID, and I don't think it'll ever reopen. And a lot of things went that way. So that was a nice Saturday or Sunday thing to do. And now, I'm just not into fun anymore, I guess, because it involves, Jesus, in Los Angeles, assumably you don't want to do the fun by yourself. So you want to try and coordinate with at least a friend. In Los Angeles, don't ever try and coordinate with more than one person because it'll take 4 weeks, and invariably it'll all go to fuck. One will get the wrong address. The other one will be 75 minutes late, and everybody will be mad at everybody. So yeah, you try and coordinate with one friend, and good luck. That usually takes hours, and invariably what you intended to do becomes compromised away as the clock ticks down and the tickets are done, or the traffic got bad, or I got this errand I have to go run first, or my dog is throwing up on my kitchen floor, or I have to find a sitter for anything. And of course, like with all cities, Los Angeles is no different. We call it California time, of course, and that means whatever the time is, add 25 minutes to it. So, as a general rule, if you're planning on showing up and doing something at like 2:30, that means you started planning to do this probably 3 days before. You've gone through 35 text messages. You had to leave at noon, even if you were 2 blocks away from the thing, because traffic, always traffic. And invariably you're going to show up fashionably 10-15 minutes late. Then probably you're going to have to do valet parking, and there's another $15 you hadn't planned on. Your car goes bye-bye. And finally you get into the place, I think typical restaurants here nowadays, I think a Diet Coke and a hot dog and a side of fries is now $150. I don't know. It's as we all know, prices are insane these days, and I don't know that it's going to change anytime soon. So yeah, fun is very frustrating these days. I can understand why most entertainment these days is plunking down in front of the screen in your bedroom and playing video games or doom scrolling through social media, trolling, masturbating. Nobody wants to go outside. We don't do parks a lot out here in Los Angeles, so even if you want to go out in nature, but you don't want to hop in the car and you just want to walk around the block. Well, sidewalks with human excrement, garbage, graffiti, derelict appliances and couches, uh, broken beer bottles. It's I don't know. Maybe some people like the scenic view of that. Not me. Not into that. Uh, I could take a tour of a city garbage dump, and get more positive energy out of it than walking down your average Los Angeles street. Uh, and I'm sorry for that. I guess I'm just damaged. Um, so, uh, yeah, so even at the best of times, you're looking at hooking up with a friend, and you're going to talk about the weather and how much the economy sucks and how much you hate your job and your boss. Um, Stupid things you saw on the road in the past week. A lot of snippets from television shows and YouTube channel podcasts. Um, and mostly bitching about each other's lives and really pointedly ignoring each other and what's actually being said and just queuing up the thing that you want to say. I guess it's therapy. I think at this point it's cheaper to get an actual therapist than to endure that. But yeah, at 58, it's like, why am I doing that? There are a few people that I will do that for, but by and large, it just doesn't feel like it's much worth the effort anymore. Once again, I'm not a recluse, but if I'm gonna go through the trouble of spending some time with some people, I would like it to mean something. And at this point in my life, as time gets shorter, I want to talk about plans. Things that we want to do, things that we want to get done, and just the usual just bitching about how much everything sucks. I am over it. I think we're all over it. Just something. Could be anything. Let's build a 20-story building out of Legos. I don't know. Let's do some weird performance art piece. Let's feed the homeless. Let's bathe the homeless. I don't know. Something, anything that just gets you out of this puddle of immobility that we all seem to succumb to. As the future gets closer and closer, we seem to be retreating more and more into the virtual world because it's more easily accessible and cheaper than the actual real world. And I get that. And it's going to be more and more engaging and more interesting. And that's not a bad thing, but, I come from a generation where most of our interactions were physical and face-to-face and that type of thing. So it feels contrived and artificial to me in a way that it wouldn't be to a 20-year-old. But even if you're retreating in the virtual world, that activity, building virtual cities and virtual space or whatever, this seems weird to me, but that doesn't surprise me that that will be popular. People seem to have a creative streak to them. They want to build. They just need a place to build it in. Anyway, so yeah, I find myself, instead of laying on the beach, because every near beach around here has no swimming alerts because of the sewage. And if you go to some of the beaches in Southern California, quite often the water is brown, not exactly the most appetizing. And sometimes it smells. And once again, fighting the traffic to get there, paying the parking when you can find it, just so you have 2 or 3 hours before you have to turn around and fight the traffic to get back home. Not exactly what I consider fun at the beach. It wasn't always that way. It just seems to be the experience as it is now. So, so I've decided, while I'm down in Los Angeles, I find hobbies. And today's hobby is I am trying to learn welding. This is a new toy, new hotness. This is a flex welder. and a nice table from Harbor Freight. And yeah, instead of being out on the beach, hanging out with my girlfriend, which isn't, and I wouldn't anyway, I'm inside under fluorescent lights learning how to weld because this seemed more interesting to me than the other things I could do in Los Angeles in July or August. Actually, yeah, it's August now. I'm probably insane. I don't know. What are you supposed to do with your life? What's the purpose and meaning of it? As far as I know, I've never found one except, somewhere along the line, not dying until you're supposed to and collecting enough calories and resources to reproduce so the next person can spend 6 decades of their lives shrugging their shoulder going, I don't know. Seems to be the human condition. So I guess it really doesn't matter what it is you fill your time with, as long as it has meaning to you. And so I've decided to take up welding. When I was in high school, in Kettle Falls, Washington, back in 1984 or so, I took a lot of metal shop. And I had this funny idea in my head. Of course, if you're in a small town as a teenager, every waking thought is, how do I escape this place? Because it's boring, and I want to go someplace exciting, and ideally make money in that type of thing. And Kettle Falls, population 1,100, was not the most exciting place to be a teenager. But looking back on it now, I couldn't have asked for better. I had a charmed teenagehood, as far as I'm concerned. And thankfully, a lot of it outside of suburbia. Anyway, so I wanted to be a welder, and so I took welding classes, and the reason for being a welder was back then they were working on the Alaskan oil pipelines, and that was a sure ticket for a decent paying job and the hell out of Kettle Falls. So I spent a year learning how to weld, and I remember my metal shop teacher, Marcus Morgan. God knows if he's still alive. He's got to be in his 90s. I remember him looking at my welds and going, Doug, I see you put the effort into it, but you have absolutely no talent for welding whatsoever. I'm going to give you a B only if you promise never ever to weld anything that anyone's life depends on. And I went, okay. And that was the end of my welding career, and I've never welded anything since, and it's been 35 years, somewhere in that neighborhood. And now I've decided to pick up where I left off. And so for the first time in 35 years, I tried some stick welding, and this is what it looked like. And I can see in 35 years, my skills have not improved any. So, Marcus helped me. Thank you, Marcus. I never had the opportunity to thank you at the time for steering me in the right direction, because I would have starved to death as a welder, or maybe I would have gotten better eventually. Anyway, I hope, now that this is a hobby and not something I have to make a living off of, I can get better with that in time. That is, after all, after not touching a welder in 35 years, I didn't electrocute myself, and I didn't have to go to the emergency room to have something bandaged, so doing good so far. But yeah, as best as I can tell, if you're bored, if you're lonely, if you're sitting around the house going, I don't know what to do with myself, this feels horrible, you know what? The magic secret? Pick something. Pick anything. I don't care what. Scroll through YouTube and find a casserole recipe. It sounds interesting to try. Go bang on the next door neighbor's door and challenge them to a game of canasta. I don't know what, but anything. Buy a puzzle. But just being impulsive is very valuable for me. My biggest problem is I am impulsive. Like there was a sale on this welder. I picked up the welder. It's a really neat thing. It was an impulse buy. Now, me in the not too distant past would have just put it on the shelf and forgot about it for 5 years. But now, as I get older and time feels shorter, now I impulsively actually spend the time to learn the damn thing too. Do that. Get outside of your head. Quit overthinking it. If you have the impulse to do something, go do it. Just go do it. For fuck's sake. You waiting for permission from God? You'd be waiting a long time. Just go do it. and I hope if one of the things you do is welding, that you come up with something that looks better than that horrible thing. I can only say I hope to get better. Anyway, goodbye, tubes, and have a wonderful weekend doing something.